And we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed Axington's wonderful display of Formula 1 2014, not Formula 1 2024 as I stated earlier. Now we have returned with Viper, with driver. Hold on, let me get the driver. You are the wheelman. Any percent. We got there. We got there. If you want to support our chosen charity, which is Save the Children, then feel free to donate through Twitch subscriptions, bits, or the PayPal link below the stream. The mic is yours, Viper. Take it away.
Right, okay. Hello everybody, I'm Viper, also known as Viper UK, or my Twitch name is Viper Race if you want to find me over there. Welcome to Driver, You Are the Wheelman, or just Driver, as it was released in the European Union, or EU, PAL version, call it whichever. Yeah, so we have a couple of things today with this one. Hopefully with a bit of luck things go alright. I'm just hoping that things don't go amiss, but yeah, hopefully this should go just fine. So we have a couple of things that I need to run through real quick. So first and foremost, we've got I don't know what has happened there. Something's frozen. I think everything's okay. Should be okay. There we go. I knew something had happened. But yeah, so this is Driver. It was released back in 1999 for PlayStation 1. There's a PC version. The PS1 version has better music. We have 4 cities to fly through: Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York. So yeah, we're gonna kind of crack on with things. I'm hoping, if the game doesn't decide to actually crash straight away, with a bit of luck. I've had a few issues recently, so hopefully that doesn't affect things too bad. I presume everything's alright on tech side. So if we are ready, then I'll give you guys a countdown. So hopefully it comes back with a bit of luck.
We appear to be ready. And you are.
There we are. Kind of worries me with the game doing this, but yeah, here we go. Okay, here we go. So, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I'm going to kind of just jump straight into this because I don't know if anything's going to happen. Hopefully it doesn't freeze. Had a few issues before, but hopefully it's fine. Tell you what, just for the sake of things, I'm going to quickly restart my thing. I think I've had problems. I've had problems with this before. We've had a few issues before, so we're going to try and keep things going. Hopefully, yeah. I'm going to quickly reset the system. So we'll keep the timer running. I'll let the game boot up and do its thing. But yeah, sorry about that. It's already off to a cracking start. The game already froze. I don't know why it did that, but yeah. Anyway, I'll kind of explain a little bit about the run. So we have 4 cities to go through. I can explain this whilst the timer's running, so it's fine. But yeah, so we have Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York. Now, the whole plot of the game is you play as a cop known as John Tanner. John Tanner himself is an undercover cop. He works for, I believe it's for Miami, the Miami Police Department. And yeah, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna hopefully jump into this. Apologies for the delayed start. Luckily, I'm going to include all this in the estimate because, heck, this is what a estimate is for. I'm just going to make sure all the sound is as it is. Okay, right. I'm not faffing about this time. I'm going to jump straight into it. I think it was something to do with the emulation, maybe. So yes, I am playing through emulator, so please don't bite my head off for it. With a bit of luck, we should be okay. But yeah, so like I said, we go through 4 cities. We're going to start with Miami, and then we're going to work our way through. So, the interview. This may become the most infamous level in driver history. So, you may be familiar with this as the main one where it's like, oh my god, what the heck is that? So, the car park mission was the very first mission in the game, and a lot of people couldn't get past this. And now you get to see how fast it really can be done. Like that. There we go. So yeah, about 25 seconds, not too bad. So between each mission, you have you go back to your apartment. Now the apartment is where you choose jobs. Now here's the funny catch. So in driver, or well, yeah, in this first set, you'll obviously see us. We went back to the apartment and everything like that. All fine, those and everything like that. Now your answering machine is what delivers the game's missions. Because of that, it means that you're able to actually do a bit more than you think. So you're like, what do you mean? So the game has several branching paths. We're going to be doing the fastest route possible, which means that we are going to be doing some missions, but not all of them. So, for example, just to kind of run through a few things. So in my splits, I have letters next to submissions. Basically what that means is that it depends whether I select the left or the right button. So you have the fast forward, which is the right, or the rewind, which goes back a mission. Now some missions can be 2 or 3 on the answering machine, some can be just the one, some are mandatory. So obviously we're going to be selecting the fastest ones. The bank job is literally the only mission on the actual thing, so it's not too bad. But anyway, so we're going to be waiting here. We've got to pick up some bank robbers. This is our first mission in the game, our first proper mission. It'll keep saying 2 will come back later. Wait till about 15 seconds and we'll pick them up. Now, I'm going to just point this out straight off the bat. So the whole reason we are in first-person view like this is to increase the frame rate. So this game naturally is supposed to run, obviously, about 25, 30 frames per second, depending on the region. In the North American region, obviously, it's supposed to run 30. If your car is shown on screen, then obviously the game has to render that. And also it needs to render like the environment on the side. So we tend to look, obviously not only are we playing in first person cam, so we don't actually have to render our car on screen, but also we do a lot of this, like looking to the side like this, so this allows us to not render as much in front, which means that the game will run at a much better frame rate, like I said, about 30 frames per second, nice and easy, just like that. There's also another thing to point out too, which is that by driving, like there are what we'll call no-kill zones in the game. So basically by driving a certain part of the road, you're actually able to drive and not get hit by anything. That was pretty lucky, I'm quite happy with that. So the cops, by the way, are completely RNG. So you'll see now I'm looking at the side there, and that is simply to just make sure that the frame rate is at the highest possible frame rate it can be. If it's at the highest possible, obviously that means that the missions will be over slightly faster and things like that. Yeah, overall, there's, like I said, there's not really like, I mean, there is speed tech. It's coming a bit later on. So for example, our first mission choice, our first choice in how we shape the story or shape the route of this game, is that one that we've just done. So we've gone right one mission, and this allows us to do Tico's ride. Now this is much quicker than the other one. The other one is called, I think it's called Waking the Neighbors or To the Breakers or something. I can't remember what it's called. But basically, there's an alternate mission, and like I said, an alternate, should we say, storyline. But we're doing this one because it's obviously the faster of the two. So in this mission, it's set in Miami at night. The first chunk of the game is set in Miami. Luckily, the police RNG has been fantastic so far. We've not actually had much fun. Okay, say that. Traffic wanted to get in my way then. It's fine anyway, we're all good. Traffic I can handle, it's the police that are a problem. There we go. I like how that car was like, yeah, it's just going great, then the car gets like, oh well, stuff happens, we'll roll with it. So we now pick up this guy here, who's called Tico, and basically what we want to do, so I'm going to keep looking behind me, looking to the side, because it's much better in terms of frame rate. Now, the easiest way that you can do this is, now, you'll adapt to this over time, but basically, the headlight there, you can see how it's got a cone. So you want to try and line your headlight up with like both your headlights when they're together and they're turned on. You want to try and line them both up so that they're in line with this yellow line here, and that will basically allow for, well, much better stuff. If we have a cop at the end, it's fine. We will just destroy the cop. I'm expecting one because we've not had one for a fair bit. The game's been nice to me. Okay, game's being nice. That's nice. That's nice. I'll take this. This is I suppose this is now making up for the bad stuff that happened earlier. This is another thing as well. First in our line of speed tech. So what we end up doing is we end up spinning the car around so it's close to the house so he doesn't have to walk in front of it. There we go. So that's Tico's ride done and dusted. And obviously, because it's the North American version as well, we actually cut off, for some reason, I don't know why, but in some of the dialogue, the dialogue gets cut off. I don't know why, because I think it's something to do with when this game was made. I'm pretty sure they had PAL in mind, and then NTSC came after. It released the same time. This is what I'm going to say now. It did release at the same time, I believe, for both European and PAL, or around the same time anyway. But the game was more naturally suited to 25 FPS than 30 for some reason. And I think that the speech is a testament of that. I've never really mentioned this, ever. But I truly believe that, because in the European version, them lines play out fully. And then when they play out, obviously you play out and then you have the end of the mission. It's probably worth mentioning as well, in case that was pretty good, actually. So in case I haven't mentioned, so I'll go like mission by mission. I'll explain the basis of the missions. I'm not really going to try and explain much of the story because, long story short, it's a bit of a mix. So basically, what's happened in the last mission to kind of give some sort of clearance, though, bit of story backstory, you know, just so everybody's on the same page. So in the last mission, Tico, the guy who we picked up, has innocently, I say innocently, has killed someone. And this mission being called the cleanup, you can imagine what we're doing and the reason why we're doing what we're doing. Why we're driving to this mysterious house. So it turns out the guy that they killed, I don't know his name, I do apologise. The guy that was just killed has been put in the back of a sedan and has basically been told, look, we've got a guy, he's dead, I need you to come up here, meet me up here, and pick the dead body up and get it out of here. So, for this mission, this is the first time in the game where you drive, like, an AI car, I'll call it. Won't be seeing it much, because, like I said, first-person mode saves frame rate, so, yeah. With a bit of luck, things should hopefully go my way. Oh boy. But yeah, for the most part, I think everything should be fine in terms of like the route and everything like that. I have to admit, in terms of like practice, the worst one I had was a 113. This is probably going to be about 115, I want to imagine. Not because, oh, okay, bad luck and all that stuff. It was actually just because of the start, and I didn't want to like restart the timer. So. Hey, you gotta have something go wrong somewhere. They call it marathon luck for a reason. There we go. So we needed to get the car out of there and get it to lock up, which we have done. So that's that. And now we are moving on to Tanner meets Rufus. Now this is like the first. I'm gonna say for me. This is like one of the main story missions. Most of the other missions are related to characters that you meet once and then never meet again. So there's a guy called Rufus who's located on Miami Beach. He's in a diner, cafeteria, something like that. And he wants you to go meet him. So this mission is literally driving from A to B. A lot of these missions, as you might have gathered by now or seen by now, are either go and pick this guy up and take him or her there, or yeah, just go from here to here and do the rest. There are other like a variety of missions in here. There are chase/pursuit missions. There are multi-drop missions as well. Multi-stop missions, not multi-drop missions. We're not an Amazon driver. So yeah, multi-stop missions and things like that. Yeah, for the most part, like I said, a lot of the story is a bit higgledy-piggledy. The second game had more of a story than the first one did. For the most part, you're meeting John Tanner. The story, in my opinion, kind of takes a back seat towards the latter half of the game. So, the whole goal of this is that we're trying to get into... I don't know how the cop didn't see me there. We're trying to get into the like crime underworld. For the most part, find a way in. And yeah, it's not really too much. I think that's the easiest way I can explain Driver. So you're an undercover cop that's trying to infiltrate the crime underworld, and you're trying to infiltrate why there's a guy called Rufus who is our informant. This is who Rufus ends up being. Like we apparently this is at the start of the game, by the way. Is like Rufus is our informant or something like that. And there may be even some kind of hit, unknown yet. And it might be, there's a gang, there's like a gang out there that's putting like this big, crime thing together, so to speak. Sorry, I can't really talk too much in riddles, but that sort of thing. So yeah, you end up going meeting Rufus, and obviously, like I said, we're now meeting Rufus. There he goes. Right, we've met Rufus. So Rufus, in the cutscene, even though I skip all the cutscenes, he wants us to go and bust out a guy called Jean-Paul, who is basically, he's in the back of a police car, he's on his way to police custody. We've got to bust him out and get him out of there. Also, Rufus is in the car with you for this mission, which I think is always quite funny. So, the armoured car is actually a cop car. Now, the funny thing is, the way that this game's damage system works is like this. Ooh. That wasn't the best place. The camera's probably going to keep going. Oh, no. Okay, I guess we're not. I didn't expect to hit him and destroy him. Okay, the camera's just like, I've had enough. Oh, wow, it went through the map. Nice. Okay, that's pretty neat. That can happen sometimes, by the way. Yeah, photographic tours on Driver. So basically, the whole way of what I was trying to say then was with the way the damage model works on this game is unlike in other Driver games. To damage a car, you can damage a car pretty easy. So in Driver 2, what would happen is if you rub a car and just kept rubbing it, the bar would slowly fill up the damage meter and you'd stop the car or truck or whatever it is that you're trying to do, for the most part. In the first one, it was basically all the cars were made of some sort of very light metal or something like that. You have to be very careful. Speaking of very careful, I do want to be a bit careful on this particular mission. So we busted out Jean-Paul, we need to get him to the backup. Now, the reason why I need to be careful is on this particular, like that, this happens. So, hopefully, with a bit of luck, excuse me. There we go. Let the cops all wrap themselves. Okay, cool. This can be a bit dangerous. So this thin one here is a bit of a nightmare, because obviously, as you can see here, like you've got to get from A to B, and you've got to make sure you do it fast enough. Unfortunately, this cop might be getting on my nerves. Hopefully, I don't have his mate join in. Nice. Very good. Nice. So we've got Jean-Paul out there, we've got into safety, and obviously now it's like, way, we're done. Not quite, we've still got a couple of missions to go. So again, we have another set of missions to choose from. So this next mission is called Superfly Drive. Superfly Drive is a very tough mission. I'm hoping this goes okay. But yeah, Superfly Drive is a tough mission because what happens is we are given a supercar. Looks very similar to most of the other cars that are on the road, as you can see. But this car is supposed to do a lot faster speed than the regular car. And this actually shows because, so I believe like the top speed of this car, I'm going to restart that because that was so bad. Thank you, AI. That was already off to a really bad start. Hopefully we don't have that kind of start again. But yeah, so we have a car that's very, very fragile. And you can't afford to damage it too much. The car's very, very quick. You have to make sure that you have no police tail on you whatsoever when you get to the end. Which sounds easy, and you'd be right. To some extent, till you get near the end. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to just drive down here. And we've got to get from one side of the map to the other. So you see that time limit at the top? Yeah, that's a pretty tight time limit. It's about 30 seconds or so that you have left. Now, I'll be honest, I have been on the side of luck many, many times, and I wish for it to continue here. I hope that this mission does not like do me over. Ooh. Very close. By the way, if I have one nasty shunt, then unfortunately, oh god, if I have one nasty shunt, then what ends up happening is the car will be instantly wrecked and it'll be mission failure. Worth noting, there's no checkpoints in this game, so if you accidentally butcher a mission that's like 6 minutes long and you really butcher it bad, then yeah, you have to restart the whole 6-minute mission again. Now luckily, luckily this comes into play right at the very end of the game, so the 6.5 minute missions usually are no bother, they're nay bother. But if we was doing the old route, then unfortunately the game would become much more difficult. Luckily the game would become a lot easier with the other route, thankfully. So we're going to try and get through here like this. So there is a cop there, that's fine, he's not in the house, no one. You see, it's like, oh my god, we've got a minute to go. It's alright, it's at the top of this road. There's only one downside, only one catch. If there's going to be a cop that spawns, I need it to be soon. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble. Now, whether I'll get lucky, I don't know. I probably won't. Oh no, I got lucky. So, I mean, then again, I'm still holding my breath here. You can get cops right near the end. Am I going to get one? No, I'm not. Okay, that's brilliant. Alrighty. Sweet. Okay. Phew. That mission relies a lot on if you've got no cops at the end. It is very, very difficult. Next up, we have a new kind of mission. So the next mission is called Take Out D'Angio's Car. So somewhere along the lines during the game's plot, we find out there's a gang that's led by a guy called D'Angio. Now, there are several missions at the end of Miami that you can choose to do. That you can choose to pick whichever one you want. There is one called Bait for a Trap, which is quite fun. Because if you go... In that mission, you have to drive to like the top end of the map, near to where we drop that car off them. And what you end up doing is you end up like tagging one of D'Angio's men, like wrecking him to really annoy him. Then what you end up doing is you end up going, right, okay, I'm gonna try and really annoy him. I'm gonna like be a massive nuisance. Wasn't quite the way I want that to go. Where's he going? He's going to the right. Is he going left? No, he's not. There we go. Hopefully I can get him. You can get a quick kill if you're lucky. I'm going to try and get him. Can I get him? Can I get him? Can I get him? Yes, I can. Nice. I think I just took him out. Yes, I did. It's good. Also, for some reason, at the end of that mission, there is a bit of an extended I'm not gonna say cooldown period or anything like that. But there's an extended period of time where you just sit there and wait for the mission to finish. I don't know why that happens, but it's the only mission where it has like I think a 3 or 4 second wait when you've destroyed the car, whereas most are about 2 seconds. Also, with that in mind, we are now on to the final mission of Miami. So this is the informant. So it turns out that during the plot, surprise, surprise, Rufus, our boy, has been shot. It turns out his girlfriend, known as Jessie, who he keeps calling Pussycat, yeah, she apparently didn't like that, and she ends up shooting him, and all of a sudden now we have a plot. Now all of a sudden it's a plot worth following because now there's been a murder. Dun dun dun. But yeah, so who we are basically chasing is Jessie. Now she's on the tram, and luckily the tram has a set path. Now, because this has a set path, it means that for the most part we're not going to have to worry too much. So the tram has to go around that corner there. So because of that, what we can actually do is we can do this here, where we can just slowly drive along like this. Doesn't really matter about that car, it's fine. The cops can follow us dead close if they like. And then eventually the cops get called off. There we go. So there's the tram. There we go. And there we go. Right, with that being said, that is Miami done and dusted. We've caught Jessie, and what we've ended up doing is it's like, right, where is he? You know, where's the guy? Who's the guy that shot our boy Rufus? Who is it? Who is it? Tell us, woman. And she goes, I can't, like, she doesn't give us his name. She goes, the guy's in Frisco, San Francisco. So yeah, we're now gonna start doing jobs in San Francisco. The first of which we've just arrived in San Francisco. And the guy has turned around and gone, look, we're robbing a casino. We need your help. So that's what we're doing. We're going to help a load of guys rob a casino. Again, this is the basis that Driver is built on. So because of the fact of, like, for those that are unaware or don't have knowledge of the game, I can just explain this. So Driver, this as in the game, this game. Was heavily based off a film by a similar name called The Driver that was released back in 1978. I forget who it starred now, but it was a very popular film. One of the main bad guys that's in it, I forget the guy's name, I do apologise, but one of the main bad guys that's in it actually starred in a Dirty Harry movie. I forget the actor's name, but he's in The Driver. Long story short, well, I say inspired by. This game might as well be that film in game format. Simply because of the fact that there is a scene which is what the underground mission is from. So you may remember I said earlier on, I was like, oh, there's the you know, there's the underground, what's it called? The car park. You know, the very start, it was called the interview, but the part where you have after like a 360 and everything, that sort of stuff. That was heavily based by a scene from the film in which they're asking him, how good are you? And he went, get in. So he gets in the car, and they end up doing a load of these like not pit moves, you know, like 180 and slalom and everything like that. And that's what that's based off. A lot of the film is like based off. A lot of the game is based off the film. However, because it's a game, it doesn't, and it's supposed to be original, it doesn't follow the plot of the film. Like for example, there are characters in the film that are not in here. For example, in The Driver, you don't. The main character is not an undercover cop. There are cops chasing the main character. There's nothing else to it. Other than that. Also, that was perfect timing. RNG really be with us today, huh? Also, the funny thing is you're supposed to go around the back of this warehouse here to get to the exit point. but they made the finishing point just about big enough that you are able to actually get the finish point on the outside of the fence. Now I had no idea about this. I played the game wrong for many years. It was only when until I started speedrunning that I realized, hey, this game's actually a lot easier and more straightforward than I thought. Once I got what missions they were and how to nail them down. Took a bit of practice to get used to it as well, which is why I name all my missions what they are, so I can never go wrong with them that way. So here's a funny little mission. This is called Guns in the Trunk. We've got a contact down at Fisherman's Wharf. He's willing to sell us something. I'm guessing weapons, guns of some kind. I mean, bear in mind we're eventually going to be taking on work for a gang, which is run by a guy called Castaldi, as you later find out. Spoiler alert. I don't know when we actually meet him in the story. Again, I haven't really watched the cutscenes, but somewhere along the lines you meet, find out that there's a guy called Castaldi who's running a gang and he wants you involved because you're a wheelman, and a pretty good one at that, according to him. So the reason why this mission's quite funny is because they give you three and a bit minutes, and it's all to get to this one bit here. Just to get to this one bit here. There we are. We're also going to reverse into that car. The reason why we're doing that is why you'll notice it happens not once but a few times in some missions, is because we actually want to be going the opposite way. So that's why we like spin our car and everything like that. But yeah, like I said, so that Guns in the Trunk, that 3 and a bit minutes, that is not just for that is not for like the whole mission. That is literally for that one section. And to be honest, it's quite comical. Obviously, when I was younger, I didn't realise that you could easily beat that in 3 minutes. I presume they drilled. I presume they made the difficulty spike a bit more lenient by doing that. But at the same time, this game's hard in general. Like, it's not. I'm not going to say it's like the Dark Souls of speedrun. I'd say there are definitely more tougher driving games out there, for sure. But I think for a lot of people who had a PS1 and may have even played this game, they know it as a very difficult game simply because of the fact of the first mission. That car park thing I told you about is infamous with its difficulty. And I'm not kidding, I'm not lying about that. Like, that is genuine. It is just absolutely ridiculous. There was so many people that was like, I did not know that there was actually a game behind Driver because I never beat it. It was like, what do you mean you never beat it? It's like, dude, the friggin' first mission, the car park, I never beat it. I was like, huh. And then I'm like, do you want to see how to do it? And it's like, no, not really. I mean, you could say yeah, but a lot of people are like, not really. And then you show them how fast it is, and they go, holy crap, that's actually really impressive. Mission's not hard at all. It's like, how do you know this? I'm like, because I'm a speedrunner, that's why. Nice. That was a pretty clean Guns in the Trunk as well, I must admit. Pretty neat. Now. So we have an interesting dilemma here. So the next mission that is coming up is one of my personal favorites. So this next mission is simply called Taxi. Now, I forget why we have to do what we do. Long story short, we have to we have to scare the crap out of somebody. Yeah. It's fun times.
I'm already panic basketing, by the way.
Why? Why are you panicking?
I don't like taxis.
There you go. We also get out of bounds as well. So yeah, you get to see a neat little out of bounds. Now that out of bounds, I was hoping would actually work, and it did. I'm so happy that happens. So you have to fill that bar up. It's pretty easy when you drive at speed and stuff. So
I'm really glad that's a short mission.
yeah, you don't like taxis.
Absolutely not.
I think, to be honest, you're not gonna like New York then. Simple reason. So New York is full of taxis, yellow taxis, and they are like the bane of my existence. Like I'm not even kidding. The if you thought Shah traffic was bad, wait till you see New York traffic on here. It's bloody terrible, and I'm not just like making that up for the sake of it. I'm like genuinely mean that.
I'll definitely be avoiding New York then.
I think New York's still. I don't think it's changed much in 15 years, 16 years. Because I remember like back in when GTA 4 was around, that was supposed to be based off not based on like obviously not racing games, but games in general are obviously trying to always be realistic. I think back in GTA 4's heyday in 2008, all of the things were based off like Times Square was always full of taxis and stuff like that. I don't think that was a thing back in these days, but then again, I could be wrong. Ooh, that right? Okay, I could have either hit that car or hit that wall. Either way, it's fine. Now the cops are coming right at me. That's interesting. Yeah, so I know you mentioned this mission yet. Welcome to Cozy the Chopper. We picked up a guy called Cozy, as you've already seen. We've now got to get into a chopper, and that's literally the mission. I'm not kidding. Again, as I said earlier on, the missions will vary a fair bit, but the basis of them, for the most part, is simple. Get from point A to point B, or point A to point B, take to point C, which is the final destination. Also, you may have noticed as well that the frame rate has tanked a bit. That is not the result of the emulator, that is the result of the actual game. Obviously, if you play on emulator and you've got like the CPU read speed or whatever it is, you know where you can overclock an emulator, you can obviously get this running at 30 FPS non-stop, like consistently, which is pretty amazing. But at the same time, it doesn't feel as accurate to the PS1 version as possible because you obviously want the crappy frame rate. It's like, really? You actually want the crappy frame rate? Yes, yes you do. So I don't know what frames are at now, but must be about something. Must be something by now. There we go. Also, you tend to lose any cops you've got on you. It doesn't matter. When you get to the end of this mission, if there's a cop chasing you, it really doesn't matter. A lot of missions do require that you have a lot of missions require that you don't have a cocktail at the end. But for the most part, there are a lot of missions that are like, yeah, this is totally fine. We're all good with this. So, yeah. Also, that's Cozy to the Chopper. We're now on to the Mercy mission. Now, apparently, I don't know who the character is. Again, I do apologise. But someone has been kidnapped and we are being held at ransom. Not us, but somebody else has been held at ransom, sorry. We have basically got to go around and, a bit like, if anyone has seen Die Hard with a Vengeance, where they have to race around New York, get to the payphones before bombs go off, this is kind of similar, except there's no bombs. It's just a case of, get to the payphone or I'll kill the person. If you don't, then, well, dead hostage, I guess. So, yeah. Well, this one is set into 3 bits. This is the first part, or part 1A. I don't know. I'll just call it part A. And then you have another 2 toll booths. Toll booths? That's not Need for Speed. Phone booths that you need to get to. Notice as well, just take note of something for a minute here. So this is actually, I don't know if this is the only mission, but this is one of only a select few missions that does not have a title saying go and pick somebody up, get here, go there, get to that destination. There we go. Also, ooh, pretty graphics. So we get to the first phone booth like that. We're gonna have a quick cutscene, and And then obviously we've got a second phone booth, another cutscene, and then the third phone booth. Now, I actually have an interesting fact about this. This is the only mission in the game that I have an interesting fact about. So, in the PC version of this game, there is, well, first and foremost, PC version that came out around at the same time, I think, or maybe a couple of months either side. Obviously, it has like a much better frame rate, things like that. The car models look, I'd say, worse, but upscaled slightly. I don't know. Not great. The handling model on PC is not great either. But obviously, with it being PC, it runs a lot faster. PC, however, is a lot more tougher. PS1 has a lower spawn, lower respawn for police. So, for example, you may notice that I can get rid of cops right near the end of the missions and things like that. In PC, they would just spawn right at the very end of the mission. It's very unfair, the PC version, I would say. The PC version also does not have the soundtrack, the original soundtrack. So if you play the PC version, you're missing out, unfortunately. The soundtrack for the PC version isn't anything to cry home about. The only thing it's got in common with the PlayStation 1 version is the menu music. That's it. Everything else is completely different. PC also allows for some missions. In some of the missions, you're actually able to choose what car that you'll be driving for that mission. On PS1, you don't get a choice. The car you drive is going to be the same one or the default one for the mission. You can't change the car. But going back to my interesting topic, so I've got about a minute and a bit to talk about this, so I'll keep it as brief as possible. In this mission on PlayStation 1, there's only 3 parts. You only have to do 3 bits. You get to the first toll booth, cutscene. Second toll booth, cutscene. Third part, then a cutscene. In the third part, oops, hello. Not what I wanted. Thank you very much for that copper. That copper just, yeah. It's like, let's just go after him. So in the third part, you obviously drive to. Whoa, okay then, hello. In the third part, you drive to the phone box. Obviously, you answer it, say, "Yeah, I'm here. Don't kill them." Whoever it is that you're saving, so, stuff like that. But on PC, when you've done this part, it gets you to drive to the park. Now, the park is at the far end of the map. It's not that far. Maybe about another minute and a bit. On PS1, this does not have this. However, it was originally supposed to have it. In alpha builds, and indeed in the game's code for the PS1 version, you can actually play the 4th part of the mission. So you'll see now, only briefly, blink and you'll miss it, you'll see now, we are now in the park, apparently. I do not know why they decided to cut it, but yeah, in the PS1 version, the game's like, right, so supposedly, you have, you know, you have the 3 parts, and it's like, right, okay, that's it. You have the 3 parts, and then the mission is done. In PC, you have the 4 parts. There was originally supposed to be 4 parts in the PS1 version. In the PS1, you have the park ending, even though in the PC version, it has the actual cutscene. I guess it was cuts that they were. I guess it was down to cuts, but it's on the cutting room floor. I believe it was found in the North American version. So anyway, next mission. So this is called the setup. Now this is faster than any of the other missions we have to choose at this point in San Francisco. There is a very difficult mission in every single city. New York has more frustrating and horrible missions than most. Luckily, we're not really going to touch many of them, if any, in the speedrun. But in Miami, there is the breakers. San Francisco has 2, which is the briefcase and in the pickup, where you have to transport a pickup truck with a crate of explosive in the back, which is fairly tricky. It is like very difficult. And then Los Angeles has a couple other missions. I can't remember off the top of my head. And New York has Take a Cab, which, funnily enough, that mission is hell. And thank God it's not in the speed run. I think if we did a run of like the hardest missions in Driver, then the run would probably be like an extra. I'm probably going to go as far as saying 20 minutes long, maybe 25 minutes. But yeah, basically in this mission, the audio for this mission is quite funny because it says, it's like, check out, man, I got a getaway job. Just need you to come and pick us up from the car park. So we obviously just been to the car park. Turns out it was a setup. Now, had the game mission, the game's mission name not say the setup, we genuinely wouldn't have known that it was a setup. So you already know what you're getting into, basically, with this mission. Which, kind of a shame, because I think it takes away all suspense of what the actual mission is about. Ooh, well. Been having a lot of double spawns lately from cops. I'm hoping there's not too many. Get towards the latter end. So yeah. But yeah, so that's the mission pretty much done and dusted. I'm hoping that I can lose this cop before it's the end. Yes, I can. Ooh, hello. Excuse me. There we go. Nice. So, that is the setup done and dusted. We now have Tanner and Slater. So, turns out there's a person that's in the group, doesn't know who we are, but long story short, the gang suspects that there is a rat in the gang. And to kind of like take any suspicions away, we're going to take out Slater and hand him over to the cops to say he was the mole. So that's what we're going to do. And how we're going to do that is like that. Just like that. There we go, done. So now we move on. That's San Francisco done and dusted. We now move on to Los Angeles. Now, Los Angeles is the quickest part of the game. It's around 10 to 15 minutes long. And there's a reason for that, as you'll find out. So, yeah, I think I'm going to try not to spoil why, but you'll see it for yourself. So we've just arrived in Los Angeles. Now, there's no, like, night or day. It is all set at the same time of day for every single mission. This first mission is called Steal a Cop Car. Now, we are supposed to drive this. So this is the only time in the game that, well, actually, no, it's not. This can hear. So, it's not the only time, actually. I was thinking this is the only time in the game that you drive a cop car, but it's not. So you're supposed to drive across the entire map. However, what was found was something absolutely ridiculous. So what we end up doing is, I'm going to try not to hit too many cars, if I can. Just try and speed the frame rate up a bit. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, I'll get to the bottom. There we go. So this here has host to a secret barrier like this. There we go. And that's how we do the mission. So you're like, what the hell just happened there? Long story short, a guy called Iceman, who held the record on Emulate for quite a while, is a pretty good driver speedrunner himself. He found out that there's an out of bounds that we can use. So by the car sinking into the water, we're able to beat the mission instantly. Now this is useful on 2 of the missions that we're doing. We've just done the first one. The chase, which is this one, is going to be our... Oh, say that. That was actually a really good chase. So there you go. That's the chase done and dusted. We now move on to a mission called the Maddox Hit. So, we've done a few missions in, like, the space of, what, like 3 minutes? We've done 3 missions. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But now we move on to a big, long mission. So this one is called the Maddox Hit. Maddox Hit is about 6.5 minutes long. It's quite a long mission. The longest mission in Los Angeles, unsurprisingly. And what we've got to do is we've got to go and pick up 3 assassins. Now, what they're going to try and do is assassinate a businessman in a Chinese restaurant, I believe. But this is set into several parts. So part 1 is to go and pick the hitmen up and then get to the Chinese restaurant so they can make the hit. and then part 2 will be getting them out of there. Oh, cop actually did see me there. That's impressive. I didn't think he would. Anyway, moving on. So Los Angeles has these like cone things here, and if I can stay around the middle like that, like, as you can see how my headlights form like an X. If you have that middle of the X there lined up, you can just look to the side like that. It's like, ha! Come and get me. Now you have to be careful here through this junction because, unfortunately, or for some odd reason, the game decides to go, I'm just going to play with you here, I'm going to mess around with you here. There we go. So I'm going to look to my left here, there we go. So, again, the cops are going to stay where they are. Luckily, even if you have a cop here, you'll lose him. So I've had times where I've had police coming around here and stuff like that. They don't follow you because the game has like it activates like a certain code in the game. So basically, on some missions, I think they have like when you're within a certain radius, the game activates a certain line of code. I want to say, and then in the line of code, it basically says lose all police. Sort of thing. It doesn't actually say that, but I presume that there is some sort of command because the missions are exactly the same. Like, you could have the cavalry on you. You could have, like, 5 cops on your tail. You know, you could have, like, full felony and 5 cops on your tail. And the game would say, right, you've got to lose them. And all of a sudden, 5 cops that are right on your tail are now oblivious. Like, huh? Where did they go? You know, that sort of thing. Try and see how we get on with this. So again, we've got to go back up here again, and again looking to the side here. This is, again, you'll see this a lot. You'll be like, how the hell do you know where you're going, like, without looking? Believe me, a lot of practice, it comes in useful. Half the time I'm not even looking where I'm going, which sounds stupid, and I'll be honest, has got me in trouble at times, but for the most part, when you know that there's this like no hit zone and that the cars cannot hit you, it's actually very, very nice. Unfortunately though, with police, because they get in front of you and they can spawn in front of you, it does mean that they'll turn into you and things and knock you off balance. So we should hopefully get there without any mither. Getting to the Chinese restaurant isn't the hard bit, it's getting to the it's getting to the actual safe house afterwards that's the problem. So I'm gonna make sure that I don't. There you go. See what I mean about how like the game has some sort of activation code and goes, oh, okay, sure. There we are. Also, what a number! 3069. You couldn't make that up. What a number to land at. Yes, I'm childish. So what? So, in the cutscene there, the guys have tried assassinating someone and he moved at the last second and they missed. So they're like, quick, get us out of here. So now, this is what the second part comes in for. Now you have 2 options with this. For a beginner, you can go and use the out of bounds, which is at the edge of the map. However, it's actually longer than doing the mission the normal way. So if you go to the actual, if you go to the oh wow, okay, hello. Woohoo! Hello. If you go to the actual safe house, so where you're supposed to go, as you can see on the map, this is actually a lot faster. It's about 20 seconds faster. So it's not like, oh, is it like a minute faster, is it 40 seconds faster? You can lose 20 seconds on this mission as a you know, 20, 30 seconds, you know, as a beginner and everything. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, it's just to kind of give some advice. Like, if you were to do a run of this, and you wanted to, if you wanted to do a run of this, then obviously you could easily do it and everything. Also, I love the fact that the cop just went down there. Like, yeah, that works, I guess. Now, I am gonna have to get rid of this cop somehow. Oh boy, I got two. Oh. Nice, okay. Right, so I think we've lost one cop, but we lost both. Okay. No, we lost both. We lost both. There we go. There we go. Good. Good stuff. That's the Maddox hit done. So again, that's like one of the longest missions in Los Angeles. And then finally, we have a mission called Beverly Hills Getaway. Now, the reason why we do this mission is to take full advantage once again of the Outer Bounds. Now, this mission is a bit difficult. Say a bit difficult, a bit different. So I need to like clarify something here. The reason why we do the Outer Bounds. So the Outer Bounds makes steal a cop car much easier. The reason why we don't do it on the chase, well, we're nowhere near it, and you have to take down Duval anyway. The Maddox hit, you can't go and do the Outer Bounds and not do the rest of the mission. The main reason is because it only passes the first part of the mission. So remember what I said before. That mission that we just did was split into two parts. Part A is to go and pick the guys up and then to take them to a Chinese restaurant. Then you pass like the mission A, part A, and then you have part B, which is getting them to lock up. If you do it on part A, when you start part B, the game crashes because it doesn't know where your car is. It can't spawn you because it's supposed to start where the mission starts where your car originally stopped. And because of this, it basically, I'm going to say soft locks your game, pretty much. I'm just going to say that. I think it soft locks the game. Iceman has tried it, thinking he was being clever, and I don't remember what the result was, but I think it was like the game just soft locked because it's supposed to like pick up your location, but because it can't because you're out of bounds, it means that that's the whole reason we use it for, or you can use it in the second half when you're trying to get to lockup because when you're trying to get to lockup, because if you don't use it, then that's that. In this mission actually has a multiple stop mission. So what I mean by that is you're supposed to go to a garage in this mission normally, but what happens is the game tricks you because it says, right, okay, you've got to go there and you're at a safe house. When you get there, there's like swarms of cops, and it's like you're surrounded. It's a trap. Get out of there. Whereas if we do this, we save all that palaver. We don't actually have, there's not like a part B of this mission either, so this is literally the end of it. Also, the frame rate tanks substantially here, so hence the reason why we're looking to the side to increase that beautiful frame rate. There we go. And with that is Los Angeles done and dusted. We're now on to New York. We're now on to New York. So New York's going to hopefully go decent. New York is the final city in the game. It's also the place where the game splits. So the story's ending actually determines which path that you choose in this one. So, for example, if you pick the regular one, which is this one, we get a certain ending. If we pick the other one, the second to last mission will be different. So there is a mission that we do that's called Rite of Passage, which is the second to last mission in this route. But if we do the route with the other mission, what ends up happening is we actually have a different mission. That's the second to last mission, which is called the alley situation. And unfortunately, if you don't like taxis, as I said, you're not gonna like this. So yeah, there's a lot of them, and these guys get in your way. So this has to have some of the worst AI driving imaginable, simply because of the fact of that these guys randomly turn on you, they pull out of junctions and everything like that, and you don't have enough time to stop. I'm not kidding. Oh boy. And we got a cop as well, that's not good. Oh, hello. That's not good. Okay, that's... Huh. Okay. Works for me. There we go. Good stuff. Cool. So yeah, this is the main one. It's quite funny as well because it's like, yeah, we've done part A, by the way. That's like the first part. So we have to go from where we are. We have to go from here to we go there. I think then we do, is it Grand Central? Now we get to Grand Central. Yeah. So the first part of the mission is to get to the train station to meet the contact. The contact has told us like, hey, look, listen, you need to go and get to Grand Central. The guy up there will sort you out. He'll hook you up, so to speak. So we're gonna head to Grand Central, and again, as I said, the taxis are just manic. They are terrible. Like I said, they are the bane of my existence. I've had so many runs into the taxis in this game, it's ridiculous. I had one particular run that a lot of my audience is quite familiar with, where I had a really good console run. I was on pace for like a 111, which for a console is pretty good. And I got a taxi like right at the end of the second to last mission. I would have had, even if at worst, it would have been like a 112 or something. And yeah, it just wrecked it. I flipped the car over and everything. For those that don't know, when your car goes over, you're very lucky if your car flips back over onto its wheels. Like, not even kidding. It's like, say goodbye to any run you had. And it wouldn't be like the first time taxis have ruined the runs. So yeah, it's pretty bad. I see chat is also sympathizing with me over how taxis could ruin a run. Yes, yes they can. I didn't think Shar taxis were that bad, but I guess they are. There's me. What do I know? Clearly not enough.
Shar taxis are just as bad.
How bad?
Terrible.
You're gonna just like convince me. How bad? How about we're talking? Go on.
We are talking, you'll be seeing them in your nightmares bad.
I think the taxis in this game can do worse.
They certainly sound like they could.
Yeah, their run ending, like I said, I've lost countless runs to the taxis on this. Luckily, because it's marathon, I'm like, okay, I hit a taxi, it's fine, it's not the end of the world. I have managed to get into the pattern of predicting where a taxi goes, but it's not like I'm the master of predicting the art of the taxi. Like, it is ridiculous. Also, these guys just constantly keep respawning, by the way, as you can see. Unfortunately, they just keep coming at you. Taxis don't, but these black sedans, I think they are. I think they're supposed to be FBI cars or something. There we go. Well, that was actually pretty good. I'm impressed that I actually managed to lose them right at the end there. Holy cow. So yeah, that's Grand Central Station Switch. That's like one of the longest missions. Almost, actually. No, sorry, no, that is the longest mission in New York. Unless the accident, which is coming soon, decides to screw me. Now we have... The problem is with New York has 2 chase missions, and they're both as difficult as each other. The first one is called The Accident. The accident involves us driving a police car, chasing a guy down, and basically making it look like an accident. To say, yeah, he crashed his car and stuff like that, and we didn't get there in time and everything like that. So we're going to cause an accident. And I don't know what it's going to be like. The accident might be a pain, it might not be. And that's the accident. caused an accident. Oops. Not bad. That was a pretty decent chase. I'll give it that. So the next mission is called Trash Granger's Wheels. Now this one, in my opinion, is quite a fun mission. I've had problems with this mission in the past with the cops not spawning, but for the most part, we should be fine. Also, this is the last time that we'll be in an apartment. It'll be the last time we'll actually do any missions from... it'll be the last time like we get to pick a mission. So, yep, that's that one. So this mission is called Trash Granger's Wheels. And basically, as much as daft as it sounds, we have to go and wreck a guy called Granger. He's left his car outside his apartment. And luckily, we know exactly where it is. Now, the reason why this mission is kind of key to the story is because it turns out that he's out to foil our plans, apparently. Like, he's one of the other guys in the gang, but he's out to foil the plans of what we're out to do. Or what we're going to set out to do. So, hence the reason why we're going wrecking his car. There's also a rival gang as well. I think he might be part of that. Can't quite remember off the top of my head. Something along those lines. There's also an interesting plot twist that's going to come right at the very end of the game. So, kind of stick around for that if you can. Oh boy. Hello. Oh. Okay, that's going to despawn. So I've had this problem before where... Oh god, hello. I didn't want to do that. I did not mean to spin him round, but that's fine. Cops did a very good job of wrecking me, my god. Let's see. Ooh. Out of the way! Thank you. Yeah, so you wreck Granger's Wheels, and then you have to get yourself back to your apartment. Which is pretty straightforward. It's not rocket science, to be honest. So, it's dead easy as well. You just cut across here like this. And luckily, because it's grass, the cops don't like coming across here. We might end up having a cop at the end here. We did, but he's facing the wrong way. That's fine. Oops. And that is Trash Granger's Wheels. Now, with that mission, we now progress into... I'll say, like, the last three hardest... Well, say the last three hardest missions in the game. The three of the hardest missions in the game for the run. These missions are very, very difficult. So the first one's called the Negatives. And I believe we're chasing a bunch of guys that are in a car, and we need to get them off the road because they're going to cause trouble with our plans. So we're going to make sure that they're not going to cause trouble. So, thankfully, I don't quite know if I can do this or not. There we go. That actually went quite well. There he is. And bang. There we go. Good stuff. We got him. Head-on collision. The worst thing about that mission is the fact that if he headbutts you, as in, if you hit him hard, if you pelt him full blast, and he pelts you with all of his force, he's got infinite mass, by the way. So if you pelt him, you go flying backwards. Hence the reason why me hitting stuff, and he was able to push me so far. Any mission that is a chase mission, the car has infinite mass. If you hit that full blast, you're going to go flying. Also, with that mission being done, we now move into Rite of Passage. Now, Rite of Passage is a fairly long mission. We have to get from one side of town to the other. And it might seem like a very tight time limit, but sorry, long time limit, but it's actually very tight. It does take like nearly 4 minutes to get to the other side of town. One other thing to mention as well. So, the way that this is another one of them missions... Damn taxi. This is another one of them missions that does not have a title saying what to do or pretty much like any objective. The only thing you need to know is that you need to race from one side of town to the other. That's it. You need to race from this side of town to the other. Turns out there's a reason for that. So, it turns out that the reason why we're doing this is because we are traversing how long it will take us to get from one side of New York to the other because of the barricade of the motorcade for the car. The motorcade of the car. No, hang on, wait. Let me get this right. So we're doing this because we're seeing how fast we can get from one side of town to the other, and try to like see how fast we can close in, or if it's doable to get from one side of town to the other. Yeah, from one side of from one side of town to the other. For the motorcade, which the car that we're trying to, well, the person that we're trying to assassinate is being in. I don't really know how to say it, but long story short, there's a motorcade with a person of interest, a special person of interest, and Castaldi has got plans to kill him. And yeah, basically we're seeing like we're doing a test run. This is essentially a test run, and we're seeing how fast we can do it to get from one side of town to the other. So yeah, a lot of this will be just literally like A to B stuff again. Not much different for the rest of the game, really, is it? So we just drive straight here. It's like, how the hell do you know where you're going? I played this game enough. I should know where I'm going. Many failed attempts during practice and things like that. That's why. Well, still keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I gotta keep looking to my right, by the way, for the most part. Apart from when they decide to turn left, that's when it gets worrying. You may notice as well, not many cops are around on this mission. I don't know why, there just doesn't seem to be many. Of course, the game just had to prove me wrong, didn't it? Never mind, fine. So, yeah, we're gonna keep going up here like this. Ooh, dear. Oh, we get a tree then. Remember what I said? This mission has a very tight time limit. So we've got less than 1 minute to go. Luckily, we're pretty close to the end. Now, if we have a cop on us at this point, it really doesn't matter. As long as I don't get wrecked, I'm okay. So it was this part here where I had a taxi like stuff me basically right at the end. There we go. Right, with Rite of Passage we now move on to the final mission of the game, which is called the President's Run. President's Run may be synonymous to a lot of people. If you didn't play the game or play it through or anything like that, President's Run is one of the hardest missions in the game, but because we're speedrunners, we're going to cheese it. How are we going to cheese it? Well, you'll see. The way that the plot works, by the way, is at this point we find out the reason why we just did that barricade thing, the motorcade route, is because we are going to supposedly escort. We're going to be we found out that Castaldi is wanting to kidnap, he's wanting to kill the President of the United States. Yep, not kidding. Might get lucky here. Come on. Might have to restart that one. Okay, that was a failed success. Yeah, that was a failed attempt. It's fine. We're still way underestimate anyway. Wow. Cops really are doing their worst spawn points today, aren't they? My god. Come on. Should be at least doing it. Okay, so this run would have gone a lot better if it had the game actually done what I wanted it to do. So basically this wall over here, again, really bad spawn points. I don't know why the game's like now, like, no. Just straight up no. Right, I have to make sure he hits me. So one of these guys will do. There we go. We got him. So yeah, so this is how you cheese the ending. So you get pushed out of bounds like this. And now what we're going to do is we're now going to drive to a part where the car is going to sink. And get ready on time, by the way, because time's coming up pretty quick. Time.
Well done, Viper.
Not bad. So allow me to just quickly explain what happened there. So just like we had in Los Angeles, we had if you sink the car into the water, you're able to complete the mission. For some reason, drowning the president actually saved him, and we got to the ending. Yeah, so this was found out, oh God, a couple of years ago now. I think it's been a thing for quite a while, actually. But yeah, you can actually cheese the last mission. So normally, for those that don't know how, or don't know anything about the President's Run, you go from one side of town to the other. If you're doing it legit, it's so difficult. So the car's like really tough. It's a tough car, but it's easy to wreck if you get destroyed by the cops. The cops are turned up to 150%. They're very similar to the cops that you get in survival mode, which are plowing at you at 200 miles an hour. So because of that, it's like, yeah, you just keep going and going and going as fast as you can without trying to, you know, get wrecked. But in this one, yeah, you just cheese it. But yeah, that is driver, or driver, you are the wheelman. That's the any %. As I said, this is the easy difficulty. You can choose to do medium or hard. It's mainly the difficulty comes down to what cop difficulty you want. So it's like we play on the easy difficulty and everything for the sake of things, and hopefully make the game as easy as possible. But yeah, that is pretty much it for driver. This does have a credit, which I can happily play. And the funny thing is, if you have a Game Shark code, which I don't, but if you have a Game Shark code, you can actually play the credits. So I'll quickly show it. It loads in like it would an actual mission. Yeah, with driver, it has like a variety in what it's able to show off. It's very, very unique. So yeah, this is Newcastle. So at the time when Infogrames was developing driver, they were based out of Newcastle. I don't know if it's Newcastle upon Tyne. I think it is. So a lot of the cars that are in this, they're all the same car, just different colours. So this is supposed to be a Jaguar XJ. I think it's a 90s Jag XJ or something like that. Or XJ6, that's it. That's what this is. Jaguar XJ6 from the 90s. Back when Jags were the main thing. But if you have a Game Shark code, you can actually drive this little city. Now, granted, it's nowhere near as big as Miami, San Francisco, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, or New York at all. Not as big as them. But the little place is actually relatively accurate for the time. It's quite interesting. There's a lot of landmarks that were around and everything. It's amazing at how much they crammed into it. If you play on the PC version, by the way, when you finish the game, you can actually play this without needing cheats at all. I do believe the cheats are slightly different on PC compared to PlayStation. I don't mean like button combinations. There was no way of actually doing it. So to get the cheats on PlayStation 1, you have to beat the game to unlock the cheats. But PlayStation 1's a variety. Obviously, you've got invincibility, immunity, so cops never chase you. You've got anti-podium, which is basically where the screen gets flipped upside down. There's rear-wheel drive, so your back tyres stay and not your front tyres. There's minis, which is every car gets turned down to a little Diddy version. And then there's stilts, where your car's on stilts, quite literally. In the PC release, though, the PC release has like a turbo car cheat, much faster cars, things like that, that you can activate and stuff like that. It's quite funny. I believe somebody has beat the PC version of Driver 1 in about 43 minutes. I beat this in a little over an hour with cheats, because it's just ridiculously OP. And yeah, there are some missions where having immunity on comes in handy, and other missions less so. So yeah. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this over here. I think we're going back to a quick intermission. But yeah, that will be just about it for Driver. And yeah, I'll quickly switch over to my other game.
And thank you once again, Viper. Viper will be back very shortly. However, I need to prepare for my run of The Sims Busting Out. So, with that being said, I have been your host, Falco, and I'll be your runner, along with Wolfie Viper's next run. Now, I'll be taking doing this Viper's second game. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll be back shortly.